He did the same kind of thing for you last year, Tom.
So much of what about.
Absolutely. I thought you'd taken enough notes at Claysmore School you could have run it yourself this year.
We did very much.
Basically, guys, wicket keeping is obviously a specialist area, isn't it? And it's one area that I watch Winternet's junior coaching, and because it's an area of expertise and a specialist thing, we tend to get left, unfortunately. You have a 2-hour net session, 15 kids, 18 children, and that 1 or 2 wicket keepers never get the opportunity to keep wicket, whether that's in the net situation or whether that's actually a coaching drill themselves, really. So what we're going to do today is quickly, for half an hour, 45 minutes, whiz round some of the basic wicket keeping drills that I still do today, and even from a kind of under 10 level all the way through to men's cricket. These drills are kind of the fundamentals really for me. We've got standing back work, which is obviously the bread and butter. You know, as a wicket keeper, standing back is something that we obviously do quite a lot of. Then the specialist stuff of standing up to the wicket, to spin bowlers, to medium pace bowlers, is obviously huge, and that's where you get found out as a good wicket keeper or as a poor wicket keeper. Is there any wicket keepers here? I know you've done some before, Andy, haven't you?
That was a long time.
Many years ago, when you had steak in your gloves. Has anybody ever kept wicket before in a game situation? Yeah, wicket keepers, so plenty of us there, really. I mean, what we'll do quickly is we'll go through a footwork drill standing back, our catching technique and catching areas with our hands. We'll then move that into one-handed catching, and then what we'll do is we're actually going to have a little footwork race between you all, really, just to see who is the fittest and the most agile between us all, really. And then what we'll do is we'll get onto the real fancy stuff of standing up as well. So you're all going to have a go at standing up, actually analysing a partner, constructive criticism, and actually see how you can improve that person you're walking. Whenever you're asking a wicket keeper to do a keeping practice or even in a net situation, try and make sure that the ball size is right for them. I'm seeing quite a lot of wicket keepers kind of under 12, under 13 playing with this big ball, and their tiny little hands and their tiny little gloves are not big enough or strong enough yet to catch this big ball. So just keep an eye on that, kind of that crossover year group, making sure that they're using the right quality ball and obviously the right size ball. That's massive really for us, really. Right, Greg, going to need your help here, really. Okay. When we're standing back as a wicket keeper, lots of wicket keepers put their hands up and treat it like goalkeeping, and that's pretty much what we are. So whether that's 5 yards back, 10 yards back, or 20 yards back, whereabouts are we trying to catch the ball as a wicket keeper? Anybody? Waist high? Waist high? Waist high? Yeah, I think in England, I would say between our hips and our knees, ideally. We don't want to be catching the ball by our ankles all the time. And actually, probably our hips may be a little bit too close. If the ball is bouncing luckily up that high, I think we might be slightly close for the pace of that bowler. So I think anywhere between our hips and our knees is that ideal area. Our hand position. Who's got some coaching points for me with our hands? How do we want our hands linked or overlapped or crossed over? Yeah, you're demonstrating it, Andy. Yeah, Tommy. What do you think?
With gloves as well.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So your little fingers are just touching there, aren't they?
Yeah.
Massively.
Yeah.
I was going to say if they're younger, and because I do a lot of girls cricket, so we get them just to overlap their pinkies.
Absolutely, yes. So touching pinkies. Looking at the modern day gloves, it actually draws them out nice patterns for you, really. If you just get them to touch little fingers, you do get that hole at the top of our gloves there, the V's, which we don't want. We don't want that. There's a gap there for the balls to go through. The strength of our hands together aren't strong. What we do is we actually want the wrists to stick as well. So you've then got your patterns on your gloves are glued together. I think that's a lot stronger and a much firmer catching area than obviously that. Does that make sense? Yeah? Huge thing. You see the junior catchers, the young wicket keepers, touch their little fingers and think that they're doing everything right, but unfortunately there's that gap there at the top there that balls break through. So I try and get them to stick those wrists together and actually make that pattern with our gloves. One of the things I'd like to try and get into the children is actually get their thumbs away from the ball. So actually that position there is better than that position there. So they're doing all the right things with their little fingers and their wrists, but then these thumbs curl over and the catching area then is much, much smaller than that. Okay? So what you can do, Greg, just come forward. That's it. You can come down, guys, a little bit so you can hear me, because the acoustics is pretty shocking in here. As a coach, as a coach or as a player, you can either use your cricket bat and actually hit this ball down the tunnel straight towards the wicket keeper, but unfortunately that's quite an advanced skill. So Greg's going to throw the balls knee height. Chest high. Yeah, I'm not too sure, mate. Good. One of the things you're looking for from the wicket keepers here is head and hands. So your head and hands are working together all of the time. That's a huge thing all day. Head and hands. People talk about soft hands. For me, if your head and hands are working together, the soft hands doesn't come into it. If you start seeing wicket keepers giving with the ball like this, the Australians, the overseas cricketers that come to Lords, come to England, you see them catch the ball on the inside, don't you? Why is that? Why do they do it? Why do the Australians and South Africans catch the ball on the inside? Okay, maybe. The bounce. So the bounce is obviously a slightly higher, harder pitches. They're in much more comfortable position to be taking the ball on the inside. They get found out over here at Lords normally in April. When the ball is swinging around, they come in here, the ball keeps low or it swings down the leg side, and the amount of eyes at Lords is horrendous. In England, we want to keep our head in line with that ball as long as possible, and obviously the bounce here is knee high, hip height. As soon as you see wicket keepers moving their feet in this position, their head and their hands aren't working together, you're going to get more drops. I want our wicket keepers here, head and hands, catching the ball, knee high all the time. Terrible throw. Okay, so that's obviously a basic catch. Bowlers bowling the ball just outside the off stump, I'm not having to move. Right-handed batter, predominantly we're going to be catching the ball in this area here. Hopefully not heading down the leg side too often. So we'll come into our footwork now. We're using the green line here. How do we want our wicket keepers to move? Sideways, absolutely. Okay. Obviously the stance is a bit of an issue as well at the moment. Some wicket keepers are starting to walk in now. A little bit, they stand at first slit, and as the bowler's running in, they're walking in. Not got a problem with that. Wicket keeping is a long time to stand there all of the time and doing this 3,000 times a day. What I'd say standing back, I'd emphasise keeping their hands low. So you don't want somebody walking in up in this position up here. The ball's going to be down knee height all the time. If I walk in, I put my hands on my knees, and as I walk in, my hands are down in this position here. I want to keep my hands as low as possible. Again, if a wicket keeper starts in this position, that's not a problem, so I've not got an issue with that at all. That's fine. I just feel sometimes when we're in this position, the wicket keepers come up and then they have to go back down. So again, you're up and down, things are moving, things are happening. You might get some inconsistencies and bounce, that kind of thing.
But you go down, turn down into that position.
Yeah.
Maybe going down instead of that position as little time as possible.
I would do, because it's actually a tense position, isn't it? It's a pressure position. If you get the wicket keepers in this position, mid-off's got it, he's shining the ball, bowler's got it, he's shining the ball. It's a pressured situation in this position, your groins, your bum, your hamstrings. And this position, you kind of just sink into the ground here a little bit. You don't want our heels on the floor here. You actually want to be leaning forwards on your hands, coming up with the bounce. And in this position, you're then ready to, it's a power position there. You're ready to power this way, obviously, or the leg side. But it's very easy just to, as a wicket keeper, just to have a little sit down here and a little bit of a chill out time. You don't want this pressure position being held for too long for me. It's got to be a power position, not a stress position.
If you're walking in there, you're still getting down to the same position.
Absolutely, yeah. So if I'm relaxed here at the moment, having a chat with first slip, the ball's moving round. But as the bowler's running in, I've got 15 yards, 20 yards to just get my pre-movements in. Right, I'm ready here, right, two down, cross, and touching the cone. Moving across all the time here. What things are we looking for there in the movement drills? Feet, head, hands. Okay, very easy to do this. Come back up, side step across, down. We need to try and stay low. These hands have got to stay round by our knees all the time. So as we're moving, there. Okay. Is it quicker take 3 really big steps or 6, 7 little steps? Little steps, yeah. Power positioning. From this position here, whatever's natural in that stride pattern is going to get you from A to B as quickly as possible. And again, depending on the height, we're going to differ, aren't we? We're going to differ completely. Couple of things. When we are moving, making sure that the children's feet and alignment of our hips are always that way. You get some children that in this racing situation start to open out and starting to make it very easy, like that. So you're always looking at their feet, their hips, their shoulders being in line with the ball. So as you're moving, there, it's natural. There all the time, the ball is going to be underneath my head at all times. So again, Greg, just do that, mate, for me. You just stand there, buddy. You can throw them straight down the middle. Yeah, within reach, yeah. There we go. Yep. And they carry the ball all the way across. So again, you can do this as many times as you But again, you're just trying to get that timing right, head and hands together. Have a look at how they're moving forward. Are they coming up? As they move, try and stay down. That bowler is running in, bowling the ball. So you're going to catch the point of your head. As you move across the line, as you get to the end result, your angles change because there's something happening. As you move, there's something happening here. But then if you imagine that that ball on that offside has come, it's happened. So that catch over there, as I move, I don't want to be in that position there catching to cover. I need to be at the end point here, catching the ball coming straight at me from that angle again, from the bowler, from the batsman. When do we use a one-handed catch? Diving. Yep, perfect. Absolutely spot on. As soon as that ball comes into the first slip area, some wicket-keepers won't move their feet and they'll just try and catch it one-handed to be the X-factor catch. However, I'd like to think with a little bit of footwork, we can catch most things two-handed. And we did it last year, where I'll put a comb down and see how far it took me to catch a one-handed catch. And we're talking second slip. By that time, it's the reactions, it's the reflex. So obviously, in my wicket-keeping position here, standard delivery dot ball. Into this channel here, I'm thinking footwork, maybe a two-handed catch. And then as it goes wider, a first slip, I'm at full stretch catching it one-handed. But there still needs to be a technique to help to react to that one-handed catch. Back to the basic catch, you're here at 6 o'clock, aren't you, on the clock face? Your head's at 12 o'clock, your hands are at 6 o'clock. Wicket keeping at all catching areas is around the clock. So from here, we move into this position to 7 o'clock, and it's not until we get to 9 o'clock, in that position, your head and hands change. You come round the clock, up to this corner, how your head and hands change to kind of above your head, and again down the other side, and how your hands change around the clock. And that's a nice exercise to do with the children, throwing balls to them around the clock to see how their hands catch the ball at 6, 9, 3 o'clock, 12 o'clock. Okay? So, we're going to do some one-handed catching very quickly. This drill, we're looking for our thumbs pointing to the ceiling and our little fingers pointing to the floor. Okay? So, Greggy, pressure on your throw now, mate. In there, about knee high, yeah.
Wider.
That's fine, perfect. Yeah, that's fine, yeah. Two things to watch here is probably my head and my elbow. That's a good one. Why did I say my elbow?
Strong.
Strong? Yeah, was it bent or was it straight? Bent. Yeah, okay. As soon as we go to a straight position there, it's a locked out position. You're going to get vibrations and rebounds and drops. Also as well, my eyes are a long way away from that ball. So if you imagine the line of the ball as it's coming into the glove, our head and our hands are not working together. Whereas this position here, my eyes and my head and my hands are working a lot closer together. So a one-handed catch is actually quite a close catch for me. So we go into that position again, my head and my hands are really close. The end result is going to have more success because your eyes are working closer with that right hand. You're trying then to get a mirror image. Okay, and again, I'm not perfect on this. So most children who are right hand dominant are going to catch 7, 8 out of 10 on this right hand. You come to the left hand, you're talking 2s and 3s. But we want 10 out of 10 on each. We want a mirror image.
Why is it important to go just as much on the left-hand side as on the right? Just to go left-hand batsman.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I had 3 yeah, they should be sharp. I had 3 one-handed catches last year, and all were down the leg side to a right-handed batsman catching my one hand. You do all this practice on this right hand here, and it's actually these X-Factor catches down there, up there, whatever. So you do need to work just as much left-handed batsman, right-handed batsman. So same thing, mirror image hopefully. No. Why was that not a very good catch? It did, yeah? It went into the webbing, yeah. We want to catch the ball in that webbing. We don't want to touch that webbing really. We want the ball going right in between the index finger and that thumb, trapping that ball before it goes into the webbing. And again, another really good exercise for kids on their own, wicket keepers. You throw the ball up, catch the ball, and you then try and get it out of the approach. You try and pull that ball out. Okay, it's quite firm, I've got a real tight grip of that. You go to the junior levels, and they catch the ball, and it's loose. They're balancing the ball. They balance it in their hands. Their hands aren't strong enough to grip the ball. So as a wicket keeper, you can just say, look, just go and do 20 catches, catch that ball, grab that ball with that little finger, grab your hand around that ball. That's a really good exercise to come at home to strengthen those wrists and those fingers up, grabbing the ball.
Is that something you keep does specifically?
Definitely, yeah. Absolutely. You see wicket keepers doing this all the time, and they're walking between overs. That's all they're doing, is they're getting that muscle memory into their fingers and their hands, grabbing the ball. And you get little kids, they can't grab the ball, they're balancing it up like this. Grab the ball, use those gloves, use those fingers, grabbing the ball as hard as they can. Whereabouts do we want our wicket keepers to catch this one-handed catch? Are we catching it in front of our eyes? Are we catching it on the side? Are we catching it behind us?
You're trying to say quiet.
Oh yeah, no. Yeah, you should know. Yeah, in line. I'm working everything in line. And again, as soon as anything goes back, whether it's your footwork, whether it's your catch, things are going wrong. Everything is basically here, straight lines. If you catch it in front, if you throw me a ball out there, Greggy, and I go out here, that ball is being pushed that way, and it may well be going in deep enough. It's going that way. Same thing if I catch the ball from behind me, it's hard, I'm letting the ball go past the green catching area, it's going to be an unbelievable catch the ball behind you. So you're looking to catch the ball in line with your body. What you can do now, what we're going to do, is using our footwork now. Could 2 of you just quickly grab an orange ball each quickly? Sorry, go.
When you do the 2-handed catch, how far away do you then do
So from your 2-handed catches, so you're here, you're then thinking footwork and catch. You're then thinking footwork and a stretch. So I'm into 3-1. It's 9 o'clock here, so I'm catching that 2-handed. You're then thinking footwork, 9 o'clock, and maybe a little tumble, a little roll, and then you're thinking X-Factor one-handed catch. So you're talking distance, but I'm talking, you've gone through your phases, you've gone through your footwork, you've gone through your 2-handed, oh it's not 2-handed, okay it's 1-handed, and as you're moving, that head, that elbow's still bent, and you're obviously diving at the same time. So you've got 3 or 4 different phases of movements. Again, different channels, depending on people that don't move their feet might just take off. But we want good footwork, good dive. Lower. Again, this is a fitness exercise. Lower. That's it. So you're working the footwork, end result. Lovely, lads. Right, one more. Good. And then we'll move up to the next line and see if that works. And if that's not the ideal area, they move forwards and they've got a position. You see, they are obviously coordinating the slips and the going. So they'll make 3 lines. Obviously the back line, it's not working here. So we're going to go to the second line and so on. I've not got a problem with that at all. Not got a problem with that at all. But I'm looking for sideways movements. As soon as you see wicket keepers move back, they're doing something wrong.
How would you coach that then?
So in a game, it's one, how do you get the player to that position and then knowing that...
Again, for me personally, I'm using bowler's footmarks here, luckily standing that far back. If not, unfortunately, there's always a daisy or a weed that I'm aware of here somewhere. So, you're looking down right, there's a little bit of a clover leaf there, right. 2 yards back, I'm walking into their right here, we go, oh no, that's too low. So next time I'm going a yard in front of them, and I'm coming forward. Yeah, that's a bit better. Yeah, this is me. So taking throws. Wicket keepers, the throws at junior level are more erratic. A lot of balls go above our heads. How do you coach somebody to catch the ball above their head? Tennis balls, yeah, however, but what is how would you technically ask a young lad to coach? Yeah. Overlap? Yeah, good. Okay. Are you trying to catch the ball with 2 hands or 1 hand? Good. Definitely. And I see wicket keepers, especially with the pace of the throws that are coming in, they're slightly scared of sticking their hands vertically at 12 o'clock. What we'd like to think, Greg, how good your throws are, you get them to actually put 1 hand up. So, is he okay standing there? Yeah. So if Greg, you're just trying to underarm the ball up there. Underarm. Okay, so yeah. Vertically pointing fingers to the sky, and you're trying to get them to catch the ball one-handed with strength. So good. Nice. So everything's vertical, it's a one-handed catch again. The supporting hand is actually just a strength. So we're just overlapping, so exactly the same thing. Can be a fielding throwing practice. You all ask the fielders to throw the ball at chest at the wicketkeeper's head. So actually, you get a lot of throws up around here. But it's that catching technique of how you're backing up that one hand and that supporting hand. So that's a good thing to look at, overall, because as you say, high catches, you take reverse cup onto your shoulder or just behind your shoulder, or you move your feet and you catch it properly, however they want to do it. But as a wicketkeeper, the ball's coming straight at your head, and you might have to jump as well, but it's a one-handed catch. So, young wicketkeeper, standing up, where do they start? What advice are you going to give them to begin with? Be close to the stumps? Real close to the stumps?
Within breaking distance, obviously.
Yep, within touching distance.
Is it also obviously people who stand up and mark with their feet in middle stump? Is that where
Middle stump? Off stump. Yeah, okay. So I've set this one up here as an area. We're going to have a look go on the other stations. The first thing first is our hand position. When we go down, obviously we've not got a chance to walk in. We are going to have to crouch down now and put our hands on the floor. The hand position has to be 4-6 inches behind the line. So again, you might get a wicketkeeper that wants to do a little fancy line with the outside of the boot. So I'm looking at that line here, probably there for me. Why is that? Why don't I want them to be here?
Could be a no ball.
Might push forwards, yeah. It's not just that, because I think naturally if I was in this position and the ball comes up, I'm catching the ball behind the line of the stumps. It's not that at all. Hands, yeah, it's the cramped up position of your hands and your elbows. What we want is we need a presentation of the hands here. Same position I just got into a minute ago, but I've then got that little giving space in front of my eyes to give with the ball. If I'm in this position here, I've got nothing really, and these elbows then have to disappear, and I become hard hand, and the ball's going to bounce out. So I want that shock absorber, that little brace of 4 to 6 inches where I can present the hands and give, and those elbows just come in to the side of my body, lovely. And that's a big thing. I can still touch the stumps from here. I'm still going to get my stumpings, but I'm not going to get the bounce outs. I'm not going to get hard hands and drops. So, coming onto your line on off stump, that's huge as well. So your left foot starts on off stump. Okay, so again, I'm using a line back here as well. So that's again, straight lines, just like our footwork. As soon as we come standing up, who's heard of the K before? K position. Yeah, right, delete that from your memory now. Things have changed. Okay, that is a real old school position now. It's bad habits. I was coached like it as well, Andy Kent. No, it wasn't you, Andy. Okay, it's all the rage. But it's been proven that it gets our hips into the wrong position, it gets our hands into a wrong position. You can get broken thumbs and body hits, everything like that. We're talking straight lines again. We're talking straight lines again all the time. So from this position here, my feet are on my straight line, and I'm in this position here. Okay, so Greg, if you could just bounce a couple of balls, not at the stumps, probably just nice outside the off stump, buddy. Okay, yep, fine. Okay, so all we're doing is catching the ball below our eyes again. Okay, a little bit closer to off stump than that, but if you can. Good, there. And again, I can touch the stumps, but my head and hands, a real simple exercise, 4th, 5th stump, that corridor there that the bowlers are always aiming for, that's what we want. Bowlers will 10 overs there, happy days. What we don't want to see, can you throw me another one? Sorry love, broken teeth. What we don't want to see is wicket keepers actually taking a step back. So again, the red cones are there for my purpose. From here, you get wicket keepers do that. That's a huge movement. Again, the angle's gone. But not just that. Why is that? There's two wrongs in this. What are they? Can't reach the stumps yet. The momentum's gone to get a stumping. Yeah, the hands can still. Yeah, hands are there. No. A little bit, yeah. Head's moving a little bit. So as that ball's coming through, your head's moving. No. Oh, you're filming. Come here, stand here quickly, sir. Can you just come and stand as the batsman? No, play a forward drive and just hold your position if you can. So from that position there, that stump is the cricket bat. This position here, I'm what? A yard and a half from the edge of the bat. That ball's still going into my gloves. If I take a step back to 3 yards, that ball's deflected past my gloves and the chance is gone. So you're again, like a goalkeeper with his angles, you're shortening and cutting down those angles, so that ball's going straight into those gloves of quite a thick edge. And so again, that's just, catching safety, there's no slip in maybe, you're, hiring those chances of catching an edge. So that's that, think of that. You'll be needed again in a minute. Yeah. Absolutely, yeah. So from there, the high bounce now, if you get a medium pace seam or a high bounce, you're actually just rotating the hips of the catch. Because from there, as you said, the K, you've lost momentum then to get your stumpings. Whereas from this position, you get a bounce, you get the catch, and you can get back down. It's actually from your hips, you're pivoting, your hands are going into the kind of 9 o'clock area and up to get back down. Again, straight line work. You've got your normal catch just here, basic catching. You've got then that half a step into this area again. Your head and hands are still working there. So Greggy, throw a few there. Yeah, 2 foot wide. Okay, so again I'm working on a straight line to push back to the stumps. These red cones are probably my catching area. At no time when we're standing up do we want to see a wicket keeper doing that. Sidestepping, that's a no-no up top, up to the stumps. Again, our momentum's going, we've lost the chance of the stumping. If it's any wider than this position here, and I've got obviously my hands at 9 o'clock, then I'd like to think that that's a wide in Dorset. Yeah? So, you know, that's the bowler's fault, not mine. And again, you know, it's his figures, not mine. But I'm thinking of my game here. I want the catch and I want the stumping. Yeah, leg side obviously slightly changes. So from our footwork here, you do need to get a little step in. Just one. Just one. So from here, the ball goes down the leg side, and again, I'm in the natural position here. Feet are on a straight line, head and hands. So a couple, Greggy. Trust yourself. Just a little skiddy throw. Good. Okay, feet are still on the line, and again, the ball's there. Why is it more difficult to catch down the leg side? Viewing's blurred. Yeah. Sir, could you come and stand as a batsman for me very quickly? Guys, if you just want to quickly just whiz round onto the opposite. When do you move? When do you move? Do you move right at the last minute? Do you guess? As you lost sight of it?
Late as possible.
Late as possible? For me, as early as possible. Yeah. If you move as late as possible, you're guessing. So if you move as you lose sight of the ball, and that ball's probably 2 yards in front of him, you're blind, snatch. A bit of a lucky dip. The ball's hitting your gloves. I want you to make that, the wicket keepers to make that assessment a little bit earlier on. Quick decision making, bowler lets go of the ball, he knows the bowler, he's an in-swing bowler normally, when he's bowled the ball at leg stump, it's only going one way, the ball's halfway down, and I can see the ball again. Where is it? Oh, it's coming straight towards me. Okay, I've got it. Oh, it's swinging even more. Okay, Jesus, that's bad. But I'm in a better position because I've got the eyes on the ball. Yes, if it's at the batter's pads and it's touch and go, you still see a lot of wicket keepers very early being in that position there, and you want to see the ball. So it's making that quicker decision to get their head and their hands on the ball. Okay. That's too much. Okay, but you're trying to get that footwork in a quicker response to be able to see the ball. Okay? The way to do that is to build up that confidence with the wicket keeper. You can actually get him in the finishing position, catching some balls down the leg side, just like this. So he's seeing the ball. Oh, that's easy. Now coming down there and losing that ball, but I'm seeing it all the way through. Oh, that's a good one. Okay? You go back again. You can't try and get into that position. Perfect. So it's that footwork and the timing of the footwork, the head and the hands working together. But what you can do is get that little step in, and you've obviously got a bigger catch area. The one area of weakness is actually down the leg side, wicket keepers will back away. Because they're losing sight of the ball, you'll get that bad habit of going here. Because they can't see it, they want more time. We don't want to see wicket keepers snatching the ball, taking the bails off within split seconds. I want a wicket keeper that's going to catch 100 out of 100 here, all of the time. I don't want a wicket keeper that's going to catch 80 out of 100 because he's doing the next phase already. Take the catch first, worry about that next phase after. So when you're getting a wicket keeper to take these catches, tell him to leave the bails alone. You know, how many stumpings I had last year, I can count on one hand. But how many times I dropped a ball outside on this off stump? A lot more. I want them to catch 100% out here and worry about that next phase half a second, a second later. There is more time than you think. Just to obviously wrap that up, that's obviously a wicketkeeper specific drill, but it does show you that the need for a quality throw is massive. If you've got 20 minutes with your wicketkeeper, the throws here, they have to be bang on for 5 minutes. The one-handed catching, that has to be bang on. You need 2 people throwing those alternate balls to make the drill work. Coming up to the standing up work, yes, you could use a batsman. He can stand there and shadow bat some shots, that's fine. You can obviously advance that and get people moving their feet to get some realistic stumpings and actually get them, putting them under pressure. Out of 10 stumpings, are they getting 9 or 10 out of that as well? One of the biggest things that we don't practice is kind of slip catching and snicks. Okay, and again, there's different drills. There's boards that we can sometimes use. I still don't think you can go far wrong of actually nicking it yourself. You put pressure on one of your young fielders to throw the ball. You as the coach stand there and you can nick and edge the bat. You've got the wicketkeeper, you've got 3 slips, you've got a gully, you've got a third man, you've got 5, 6, 7 players being involved. You might have 5, you might have 6 sitting out. However, use them. Let's make it a game. You've got 3 slips, a gully and a third man. If there's a drop catch or a misfield at third man, swap over. The other team of 5 come in, rotate the thrower. So you're using a squad of 14, 15 lads in a fielding drill. It's a wicket-keeping catching drill, it's a slip close catching exercise. You're putting pressure on the thrower there to practice his target throwing from 10, 15 yards away, and put pressure on the whole squad, improving their slip catching, and you move round. The one drill that you probably do need to be specialist on is a snick for the wicket-keeper standing up, because that's a reaction catch. What we're going to do, can I borrow you, sir? Greg, can you throw? The best thing I've used is a stump. Okay, so you're left-handed, are you? So if you can stand there, Greg, come really nice and close. You're going to leave the stump pretty much there and not really move it. So all you're doing, obviously the wicket keepers would have helmets on at this stage. You can utilise the first slip because he may get one. It's just basically an underarm throw at the stump. So I'm already in my advanced position here, and you're trying to hit that stump, Greg. Yeah, that's fine. Little movements like that, fine. So I'm trying to catch that ball. That was an under edge, wasn't it? Please tell me. Yeah. Don't move it up like that. That's what we're going to chip it. Just keep it still there and just run off the stump into your gloves. Okay. So from here, all I'm walking at is the edge. Good. You can stay here all day, Greg. There. First slip might have it. But again, this is a realistic. There's a noise and there's an end result. What we don't want to see from wicket keepers is them snatching at the ball. Well, that's a good one. You don't want them panicked about that edge. But it's unbelievable how many snicks come off that edge and don't go into those gloves. We don't want the wicket keepers from here, hearing the edge and moving. That is my catching position, that's the line of the ball. If it hits an edge, it goes in there. If it doesn't, it goes to first slip. If you see wicket keepers start trying to react with the edge, it ain't happening. It's going to bounce out their hands. Try and train these wicket keepers to stay on that original line path, and it will go in naturally.
Last question, you think the stumps better than say cones? So a lot
Yeah,
of videos that they use.
You take that off. So again, with a little bit of practice, you would adjust the line there and you get a better noise. What happens with the cone? You okay? Did it? It slows the ball down. So so you're hitting the cone again. You're getting a noise, but it actually slows the ball down. Greg. There. So that's unrealistic because it takes the pace off the ball. With the stump, it actually speeds up, which is a natural thing. Does that make sense? I've done it with the cone before, and I just feel it takes the speed out of the catch, and it feels an unnatural position in the hands because those hands are thinking that the ball's already gone in. Off a stump, there's more of a stick to it. But again, the wicket keeper's obviously got to have a helmet on. But again, we don't train left-handed very much. I hate left-handers. It's just one of those things. You just naturally do it. In our stance, just have the stump. The one thing that wicketkeepers will sometimes get is clever batsmen that wave their bat in your face. Does the wicketkeeper then have to move and adjust his stance? If he's stood here in his stance and all he's got is a size 6 grey nipples in his face and he can't see the ball, would you ask him to, would you say, look, just move over, move your head position? Would you ask him to do that?
I'd probably say bench position to see the ball.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you get some unorthodox batsmen, Chandler Pauls, people like that have their bat in your eye line. This is your bread and butter. You're expected to catch these balls out here on the off stump, 100%. So make it easy for yourself. It might be that you might need to go a foot wider, and be aware that everything's changed, but you're still coming into the final position correctly. As long you want them to keep their eyes on the ball. Without sight of the ball, you're not catching it. And yes, it's an unrealistic position, but it does happen. You can't ever anticipate a batsman doing something. I've seen batsmen do that before, and that's when you can train for that really as well. You can get somebody with their pads on and actually just mess around and stand there like that and do the splits, and you can practice throwing the ball at somebody's Yorker leg. And again, that's obviously a hard practice for the wicketkeeper. But if you train harder than the match is a piece of cake. And yes, it's a little bit of fun. Get a little wicketkeeper, a little batsman standing there like that, and you as a coach throw the ball straight between his legs, and all the keeper can see is that area down there. You can't see the ball, you can't see the throw. That's a good practice as well. But yeah, hands in line with the line of the ball all the time. The edge will go in, and your brain will naturally move your hands.
Considering if you're working on the reactions,
Yeah.
it's not natural reaction.
Yeah. And then it's that relationship with first slip as well, really. Has anybody else got anything? No? Perfect. Happy days. Well done, mate. No problem at all, mate. No problem at all.
Yeah, run.